like to welcome y'all to Walterboro, South Carolina, home of Sheldon. I'd like to welcome these guys and thank y'all for taking the time out of working on y'all's new album.
Thanks for having us.
I'd like to ask you real quick, how did you get started?
I think for he and I, it was skateboarding and listening to Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and then just
Suicidal tendencies.
fall in love with music, wanting to do it.
And Keith, being our childhood friend, we just all got together and did it.
That and the fact that we live in a small town with nothing to do.
Yep. Either that or get in trouble.
It wasn't because you wanted chicks or anything.
That's no, because I mean, even when we started playing shows, I'm sorry to put it mildly, there wasn't that many chicks at shows. I mean, in the 80s there might have been chicks at shows, but in the early mid 90s when we started, there were there might be 2 out of 100, and it was mostly guys, dudes hanging out, banging their heads, and so.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about this new album?
We've been working on it for 6 months now?
Something like that.
A couple of songs are older ideas, it's just, we all have families and responsibilities, so it's kind of hard to get to it every day, but we do it in our time, and it's coming together, I think, well.
It's going to be a good mix. We've always done like heavier stuff, lighter stuff, sometimes we'll do acoustic stuff, more straight ahead rock and roll, but this album I hear, we're kind of going back to mixing everything up and doing a little bit of everything and adding some of the heavier stuff back in, or having acoustic guitars, and then still keeping the straight ahead rock and roll vibe of it as well, just to have a lot of fun and play our butts off.
That's the key, just to have fun with it.
Yep. That way you don't punch me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, how did y'all come up with the name for the band?
That's a 2-part answer. First off, let's see, I was probably about 17. One night I had a very weird dream of this place and a young lady, and I woke up, and when I woke up it was, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like I was in love with someone that I'd never met. And I remember the girl's, when I woke up, I remembered the girl's name. It was very strange. Then that next day, I talked to someone, they told me about Old Sheldon Church. So I went to Old Sheldon Church, and I found a grave tombstone. And on the tombstone was her name. I can't remember it now, it's been over 20 years. And I was like, wow, this is so weird. Ever since then, 20 years later, every time I go back, I've never been able to find that tombstone. So it was kind of weird. So we all started hanging out, going to Old Sheldon Church, just, spooky stuff happening, almost like you can go in the middle of the church and things will spin around, sounds like some sort of dust devil or something, and really, it'll scare you. You'll go running out of there. So we spent a lot of time there. And one day we're going to practice. We don't have a name yet. We're sitting there. We need a name. We need a name. We need a name. So we figure, all right, on a count of 3, everybody think of a name. On a count of 3, say the name, whatever you have. 1, 2, 3. All 3 of us said Sheldon. That's it. That's the way it was, and that's still it to this day.
Now, I know y'all guys have been together for about 18 years?
18 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yep.
I remember growing up listening to a lot of the stuff you said, Metallica, Pantera, loved it, so what are some of y'all's influences, man? I mean, what really, sticks in your mind when you go back?
My biggest influence, I think, being that I was the youngest one in the band, would have to be Haji and Keith.
Okay.
And what they were into, and it wasn't like I was following their footsteps, but I grew up in a house full of women, so it was awesome to have.
We were always
older
together,
guys,
so
we'd ride our skateboards, break into National Guard armory,
set them on fire, get arson charges. I didn't do it. It was bogus. Still got it on my record. One thing.
I remember Keith, man, when we first met. I think I was 8, he was 9. He was rocking the GNR T-shirt.
Yep.
And his mom always gave him a bowl cut, so he'd walk like this. But we skated, and then he moved and came back to town. And I'd been playing guitar for a few years. He'd been playing guitar for a few years, and we needed to get a band together to do something. And Keith said, I could play drums. I sold my stuff and bought him a drum kit, and then I worked all summer and bought a bass rig, and we just started playing.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as influences go, you know, like you said, when we first started out, you know, all of us were into Metallica, Guns N' Roses, you know, all the thrash metal, heavy rock that was going on at the time. You know, we were listening to it as loud as we could, you know,
Yeah.
kind of little skater punks, you know, going around town.
I think you definitely need to mention, too, that when we started, Charleston had a decent scene,
Oh, yeah,
and
especially downtown
we'd go around,
Charleston.
you know, I was 14, maybe 15.
Yeah, I was
and
17, 18.
We'd go hang out downtown, which I don't know.
It was very tight-knit. Everyone down there was tight-knit.
Everybody accepted us with open arms. The band, I mean, there were bands that would come to Walterboro to see us practice.
Yeah.
And we thought, you know,
That's
it was like Ozzy Osbourne coming to see us. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they'd mention this on the radio, like, yeah, here's our 3, you know, fans, you know, Daniel, Keith, and Haji, and I remember that was a band called Shaman Mary, and the guitar player from that band actually joined us for about 5 years, and we did 2 albums with him. He's actually plays bass in Shinedown now. He's doing really well.
Okay.
So
How many albums y'all got, man?
we've got 4 full-length albums, and a couple of EPs, and I think 2 EPs, but 4 full-length albums. Sleeping with the Enemy, Psychodelia, Illinois, Electric Shotgun Sounds, and then we're working on The Curse right now. It'll be
Okay.
album number 5.
Awesome. I know y'all been together for 18 years. That's a long time. It's kind of hard to pick. Maybe one of your just highlights that really sticks out in your career. But what would you say, Daniel? What is the one that really sticks out that you just remember?
He used to play on stage with me every night.
Well, yeah.
I think my favorite memory of being in the band is when we were at practice one night and Haji broke his Les Paul in practice.
For no reason.
Why would you smash a guitar at practice?
I've broken more Les Pauls.
I've never had enough money to own a Les Paul.
There
He
you
breaks
go.
them at practice.
How about you, Haji, man?
There's a lot of great moments getting opened up for a lot of big bands, especially the ones you grew up listening to. We got opened up for like Suicidal Tendencies, The Misfits, Corrosion of Conformity, all these great bands. But recently, right after we came back out, came off a hiatus, we won this big Battle of the Bands in Charleston for 98 Rock, and that was great. And we got to play Rockfest.
Okay.
And we got to open up for Hailstorm, which are really cool people. I mean, they're awesome. They hung out with us, really cool guys and girls. And what was it, Seven Dust and a lot of other great bands. We're the only unsigned band on the main stage, winning the Battle of the Bands. We kind of won that honor. And it was kind of cool after so many years of not playing. First thing we did was come back, win this Battle of the Bands, and, got to play the show. And it was awesome. We only got to play 4 songs, but that's okay.
The show that big, we didn't get the cold shoulder. Everybody was
No,
completely cold.
everybody's
Yeah.
really cool and super professional. All the big bands, and it's funny because most of these bands haven't been together half as long as we have, and some of them have, like Seven Dust. We both started at exactly the same time, but all these people were so nice, so cool. And it really shows that, especially nowadays, the rock and roll community is like a big family. Even on a local level, in the Low Country here, us coming back into the scene, there's a lot of just, it's a really, a lot of camaraderie. It's like a big family scene, and they, a lot of other bands have accepted us back in, kind of as the old school guys.
There you go.
It's kind of hard to knock that one, but it's fun. But that was a big thing playing Rockfest. That was a real cool thing. We had a good time, played well.
It's hot.
Yeah, real hot. Should have worn shorts.
Well, you've had a lot of stuff going on over the past 18 years. And there's some fans out there, some new fans we hope, that would like to see y'all or know how to get some of your tunes, you know, get some of the music. Where are they going to be able to catch you next, and where can they go to find the music?
Our next show is July 20th at the Oasis Bar and Grill in Charleston. As far as, you know, finding out what we're doing, buying our music, merchandise, you can go to www.sheldonrocks.com, www.reverbnation.com /Sheldon Rocks, and facebook.com /Sheldon Rocks. So pretty much you remember / and Sheldon Rocks. Just remember Sheldon Rocks and you're good to go. So,
Well, let me ask you this. We're paranormal investigators. You know, we go out, we ghost hunt, we find them. Have y'all had any paranormal experiences?
lots. I mean, even in the room we're sitting in right now, which is, you know, my personal studio, Vibe Tone, we've recorded bands in here. And so many times we've gotten EVPs on recordings. Just one case in point, I was recording a band, Shaman Mary, and their bass player was just going nuts talking about, I hear a girl, there's a girl's voice. And we would get, you know, all this weird stuff. And it's not like 60 cycle hum or white noise or this, that, or the other. These are actual legitimate EVPs that are coming through, you know, and just, it's really weird. And from a production, you know, standpoint, having to make these albums, I'm like, oh, I need to edit that out.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool, but then again, at the end of the day, I'm getting paid to, you know, produce an album for somebody,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, wow, I gotta get rid of that.
Makes me want to go get my digital recorder now.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's not very active, but come here, like, during October, it's crazy. And don't go in the bathroom across the hall because you might get spooked. That's all I gotta say. It's very strange. Kids won't go in that bathroom in October.
There you go. All right.
How about
You
you?
know, I just thought about this, but my mom dated the guy who owned these houses back when I was a kid. And right up the road was his house. He's got a big barn up there. I remember being a kid and playing in the barn, but he had a son about my age, and everyone in the house wouldn't go to sleep unless the radio was on because activity. They had kept on to keep stuff away. Is
We've
basically what they
actually,
told me.
we've heard people say that they've actually had to turn up their radios or their, what was that thing that lady had? They had to turn it on at night because they kept hearing music playing.
Oh, the sound, the dehumidifier.
Yeah.
Oh.
It drowned
Maybe that's
out
why I
the
sleep with
noise,
the
man.
fan every
Heard
night.
music?
Yeah, the music down on, this is down in Savannah.
It's
Yeah.
weird because I lived in a house next to him. My grandfather bought it. It was a 2-story house. It was owned by a guy who was military. And when we moved in, there was old cots and IV bags and stuff. And one night I was sleeping in my sister's room because she had the only air conditioner in the house. And I kept hearing music. And I opened my eyes and it still, you know, kept going and stopped. That was weird. But the next night, I was laying in there and it was Sam, and I opened my eyes and it kept going and then it stopped. I didn't think anything of it. But a week later, I was talking to my mom and I told her about it. She said, well, the guy who owned this house, his name was Sam Sprite or something. I can't remember his last name, but yeah, it's weird that you said music because
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's for sure. We've had some interesting things happen.
But I'd like to thank y'all. I'd like to thank Sheldon.
Yeah, definitely.
For stopping, taking your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're
Appreciate
awesome,
it.
You
man.
guys very
Y'all
much.
keep rocking on, dude.
Yeah,
Music's
we will.
great.
Thank
And
you.
guys,
You can catch.
you can check these guys out.
Y'all need to check them out. You can catch them July 20th, Oasis, Charleston, and just about every website there is with / reverb, or excuse me, sheldonrocks.com. Make sure you check them out. Listen to these guys. Thank y'all.
Low Country, give these guys some love, man. They're great.